Hello students, in the last lecture we have discussed about construction of modules of fractions. In this lecture we will discuss about restriction and extension of scalars, and further we will discuss about certain more properties of modules of fractions. So let us start my lecture with restriction and extension of scalars. So consider a ring homomorphism F from R to S. Here R and S are commutative rings with 1. Suppose N is S module. Then we can give this S module N R module structure via F as follows. We consider the action of ring R on S module N as R dot N is equal to FR dot N. Now see, this makes sense because FR belongs to S and N is S module. So here FR dot N, here dot is the action of S on N. So thus under a ring homomorphism from R to S, any S module can be considered as R module via this action. So this N is said to be obtained from N by restricting scalars from S to R. We say that this S module becomes R module via F, and the new R module is said to be obtained by restriction of scalars from S to R. Now we all know that S can be considered as S module. So applying the same procedure to S, we can consider S as R module via F. So thus S can be considered as R module via F under this action. Now let us now discuss extension of scalars. Suppose M is R module and F is ring homomorphism from R to S. So as discussed above, S can be considered as R module via F. So S is R module, M is R module. So we can consider their tensor product. Let the tensor product of M and S over R be denoted by L. Clearly L is R module. Now we will give this L S module structure via this action. We define the action of S on L as: take an arbitrary element of M tensor S. It will look like finite sum of Mi tensor Si, where Mi belongs to M and Si belongs to S. So let S belongs to S. Then we consider the action of S on L as summation Mi tensor Si. Now this makes sense because S is element of S, SIs are elements of S, so SSI will be elements of S. So it can be seen easily that under this action L becomes R module. So this L is called a module obtained from L by extension of scalars from R module M. Now suppose M is R module and S is multiplicatively closed subset of R. So then S inverse M is isomorphic to S inverse R tensor M over R as S inverse R modules. Now see, M is R module, M is R module, and there is natural ring homomorphism from R to S inverse R. So thus S inverse R tensor M over R can be considered as S inverse R module by extension of scalars from R module M, as discussed in the previous slide. So this S inverse R tensor M over R is S inverse R module. Also this is R module because S inverse R is R module, M is R module, and tensor product of two R modules is again R module. So this module is S inverse R module as well as R module. Now we want to show that this is isomorphic to S inverse M as S inverse R modules. So now we consider a map from S inverse R cross M to S inverse M by phi R by S, M is equal to Rm by S. We will first show that phi is well defined, then we will show that phi is S inverse R bilinear. So phi is well defined as if we take two elements in the domain, say r by sm and r dash by s dash m dash, and suppose these two are equal, then r by s will be equal to r dash by s dash and m will be equal to m dash. Now since these two elements are equal, this means element r comma s is related to r dash comma s dash. That is, there will exist some element t in S such that r s dash minus s r dash t is equal to 0. So this means r s dash minus r dash s t m will be 0. That is, r m s dash minus r dash m dash s t is equal to 0. Since m is equal to m dash, we can write m dash in place of m. So this means RMS is related to R dash M dash S dash. That is, Rm by S is equal to R dash M dash by S dash. So thus phi is well defined. Now we will first show that phi is R bilinear. That means phi is linear in each variable. So for this we need to check that phi r by s plus r dash by s dash m is equal to phi r by sm plus phi r dash by s dash m, which is very easy to see. Phi r dash by sm is equal to r phi r dash by sm is equal to phi r dash by srm, and it is linear in the second variable. Phi r by s m plus m dash is equal to phi r by sm plus phi r by s m dash. So since phi satisfies these three properties, so phi is R bilinear map. So thus, by universal property of tensor products, phi induces R linear map phi tilde from S inverse R tensor M to S inverse M, defined by phi tilde R by S tensor M is equal to Rm by S. Now, it can be seen easily that this phi tilde is also S inverse R linear, because if we take an element A by T in S inverse R, then phi tilde of A by T dot R by S tensor M will be phi tilde AR by TS tensor M. This is action of S inverse R on this module. So by definition of phi tilde, this turns out to be ARM by ST. So this is equal to A by T dot Rm by S, that is A by T phi tilde R by S tensor M. So thus phi tilde is S inverse R linear. So the proof will be complete if we show that phi tilde is 1, 1 as well as onto. So first of all, we will show that phi tilde is onto. For this, we take an arbitrary element m by s in S inverse m. Now, phi tilde of 1 by s tensor m is m by s. So 1 by s tensor m is pre-image of m by s. So phi tilde is onto. Next, we prove that phi tilde is 1, 1. For this, we will show that kernel of phi tilde is 0. So consider an arbitrary element of S inverse R tensor M. So this will be some finite sum of elements of this kind, Ri by Si tensor Mi. Now, we take S to be product of these Si's, and we take Ti to be product of all Si's except Sj's except Si. So now, consider this element. This element can be written as Ri-Ti by Si-Ti tensor Mi, and then the sum. Now Si-Ti is nothing but S. So this will be summation Ri-Ti by S tensor Mi. Now by the property of tensor product, this is equal to summation finite sum 1 by S tensor Ri-Ti tensor Mi. So this will be equal to 1 by S tensor summation Ri-Ti Mi by the property of tensor product. So this is again an element of M. So this will be equal to 1 by. So if we take this sum to be M, so thus this element becomes 1 by S tensor M. So thus we have shown that arbitrary element of this tensor product looks like 1 by S tensor M. Now, so we take an arbitrary element in that tensor product to be in kernel phi tilde. So let that element be 1 by S tensor M. So this means m by s will be equal to 0 by 1. That is, there will exist some element t in S such that mt is equal to 0. Now, 1 by S tensor M. This can be written as T by Ts tensor M, because this element belongs to S inverse R. Now, by the property of tensor product, we can take this T here. So this becomes 1 by Ts tensor Tm. But Tm is 0. So this is 1 by Ts tensor 0, which is 0. So thus we have shown that the element which we have taken in kernel phi tilde turns out to be 0. So phi tilde is 1, 1. So thus S inverse R tensor M over R is isomorphic to S inverse M as S inverse R modules. So now we will use this property to prove certain results. For this, we will first recall the definition of flat R module. So suppose A is R module, then we say that A is flat if for short exact sequence of R modules this 0 to L to M to N to 0, if we tensor this short exact sequence by A, so we will get a sequence 0 to A tensor L to A tensor M to A tensor N to 0. If this resulting sequence is also exact, then we say that module A is flat. So this should be true for every short exact sequence of R modules. So an R module A is called flat if for every short exact sequence of R modules, if we take the tensor product by A, the resulting sequence also turns out to be exact. Now, we will show that if S is multiplicatively closed subset of ring R, then S inverse R is flat R module. We know that S inverse R is R module. We will show that it is flat R module. So in view of the previous definition, we need to first consider short exact sequence of R modules. So let us consider this short exact sequence 0 to M dash to M to M double dash to 0 of of R modules. Now, we know that we have proved in the previous lecture that if we apply S inverse to this sequence, the resulting sequence will also be short exact. That is 0 to S inverse M dash to S inverse M to S inverse M double dash to 0 is also exact. Now, by the previous result, by the previous isomorphism, we get that S inverse M dash is isomorphic to S inverse R tensor M dash over R. S inverse M is isomorphic to S inverse R tensor M over R, and similarly this. So thus 2 becomes 0 to S inverse R tensor M dash over R to S inverse R tensor M over R to S inverse R tensor M double dash over R to 0. That is, S inverse R will be flat R module. Next, this result proves that S inverse commutes with the tensor product. That is, if M and N are R modules and S is multiplicatively closed subset of ring R, then S inverse M tensor N over R is isomorphic to S inverse M tensor S inverse N over S inverse R. Now, we consider the right hand side. S inverse M tensor S inverse R over S inverse N. Now, using the previous result, this is isomorphic to S inverse R tensor M over R. Now, since tensor product is commutative, so this can be written as M tensor S inverse R over R. By associative property of tensor product, this becomes M tensor S inverse R tensor S inverse N over S inverse R. Now, we know that this is isomorphic to S inverse N. So this becomes M tensor S inverse N over R. Again, applying the previous theorem, S inverse N becomes S inverse R tensor N over R. Then again applying associative property, we get that this is isomorphic to S inverse R tensor M tensor N over R, and which will be isomorphic to S inverse M tensor N over R. So thus, we have shown that S inverse commutes with the tensor product. So, using this, we can see that if P is prime ideal of ring R and we consider localization of R modules M and N at P, then MP tensor NP will be isomorphic to M tensor N localized at P. Thank you.